Franchise Shane Douglas, welcome to Appalachian Expose. It's always a big thrill for me whenever I have one of my brothers or sisters from ECW because, as you guys know, we created magic there and we're really proud of that. And we hear the ECW chant still, 30 years later?
Everywhere you go in everybody else's arena.
Mind blowing, isn't it?
Crazy.
And look, WWF, back in the 70s and the early 80s when I was breaking in, NWA, I loved all that stuff. But you don't hear NWA chants today, WWF chants.
You don't.
You still hear ECW chants. This is one of the reasons why Too Cold Scorpio with us this week. I've been really interested in doing this because, like I told you last night, these are the conversations we have when we're on the road, right?
Yes.
Jump in the car and within 20 minutes, hey, who broke you in? Who traded you? And this is how it goes. So let's start there. My first question to everybody usually is, how old were you when you started watching wrestling? And then what was it that in your brain said, I'm going to be a wrestler?
Well, for me, it was probably, I'm going to say, 5 to 10. Was really started to watch wrestling a lot. My grandmother used to watch wrestling all the time.
There you go.
I mean, coming from Texas and then moving to Colorado, it was world class and AWA wrestling. Right. So I used to see Superfly Snooker all the time. So I used to watch Superfly Snooker all the time, and I was just, me being, somewhat of a gymnast and used to jump on a trampoline. So
Sure.
I was like, man, I probably could do that. Actually, my first love is I ended up getting my first wife pregnant, and when I was like 17, 18 in school. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead, drop out of school. I'm gonna go ahead and try out for football. I'm gonna go on as a walk-on. And so during that time in 83, 84 is when they had just stopped as far as you just can't walk in and try out anymore. So I was like, well, shit, now what? So I said, well, what else could I do with the next best thing that has pro behind it? Yeah. And the only other thing I could come up with was wrestling at that time and stuff. I was like, well, shit, maybe I'll train to be a wrestler. So I just started training myself, watching and practicing the moves and started doing them in the house and stuff. So.
Wow. See, like for me, I look back, my big thing was having met Dominic DeNucci in 1978. We did that world's first backyard wrestling show. And had I not met Dominic, only through Muscular Dystrophy because we raised money for MDA, the woman there, Angela Paparella, put us in contact. I had no idea he lived in the area, but if I had never met Dominic, what would have been my entrance into the business?
How would you have got in? What was your door in and stuff? Right. I think, once I did decide that I was going to become a professional wrestler, started training out in Denver. Me and a buddy of mine's, Jeff Gold, he was a manager of a complex that I moved in. Okay. Yeah, he was about $1.25, soaking wet with a brick in his pocket. Yeah. And I was like, I'm a wrestler. I'm like, kept looking like, you're a wrestler? Right? I'm so used to, wrestling was just big guys.
We were babies in the business.
Right, compared to, some of the guys that I've seen, growing up in the business and stuff. So, but yeah, so then after that, man, we started training inside the apartment. And then one day I got drunk enough, high enough to go down to the ring and watch him practice. Ring was set up in the backyard. I'm like, damn,
wow,
that's a real wrestling ring. And not realizing that this is backyard wrestling. But anyway, I had no clue.
So let's go back to what was your grandmother's name?
Her name was Bengali Jones. Everybody in the neighborhood, everybody around always called her Big Mama. She was a big mama for everybody.
Sure.
She was, Big Mama.
Hell of a cook too, wasn't she?
Shit, hell yeah. You already know. You already know. Yes, sir. All grandmas back in the day, I believe, could cook and stuff. You know what I mean? Especially when they had that southern in them and stuff. You know what I mean? So.
I just get away from wrestling for a second. When I was a kid, I think everyone was the same way, right? We all love our parents, but as you start getting older a little bit, you start thinking like, well, my mom and dad are as smart as I am, or like you think you're a little bit smarter.
Well, you think you might be a little bit smarter, but if you ever really paid attention and listened to what your mother and parents would have said, it would have saved me half the headache and the trouble that I went through to find out exactly what they was telling me. So.
My mom had all these little idioms. My mom and dad both, and growing up, it sort of goes in one ear and out the other. You thought, but it obviously planted back there because as I got older, like that insurance commercial, we've all become our parents, right?
Right, yeah. No, I'm not becoming my dad.
My kids look at me like they're like, oh God, you're nuts, Dad. But So like, okay, we'll take it back to well, first of all, back to your grandma, grandma. I said grandma, but so like you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and grandma's watching wrestling pretty routinely.
For every Saturday or Sunday when it came on, it was pretty much routine that you was gonna watch the wrestling and stuff, you know. And then
She like the baby faces or heels?
she was more like she just liked the whole entertaining heel baby. All she kind of liked it, but you know there was a few wrestlers, you know, she favored more like Superfly, and, you know Bobo Brazil and some of the guys back in the day. So she was crazy about Dusty Rhodes and shit, you know. I mean, who wasn't back then? And shit, you know what I mean? So, but yeah.
Well, but just a little sidebar to that, like I started watching when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Never got to see a tail end of a show because Batman would come on right after, and so I'd always towel and safety pin through my knee, and I'd always get so excited I'd jump off the couch with my brother or sisters, and I'd always end up in my bedroom before the end.
Before the end.
Yeah, but at 13, cable came to Pittsburgh, and I was at my dad's house for that weekend. He was almost always gone on the railroad, but the guy put the box in, gave my dad a complimentary TV guide. And Dad was looking at it. No idea my dad even knew what wrestling was, let alone liked it. And he said, "Hey, wrestling's on tonight at midnight. You want to watch?" I said, "Hell yeah, I'll watch wrestling." Right. And the very first segment was Superstar Billy Graham with Ernie. Right.
Oh man.
And I was.
I was hooked ever since then.
One of the coolest thing I ever laid eyes on. But I had no idea my dad liked wrestling.
Right.
You know, so. But but like he was the one that took me. That's why I see kids at these like conventions like yesterday. You know, little 7, 8-year-old kids coming up with their mom or dad. You know, I tell them he'll remember this the rest of his life.
Yes.
'Cause my dad would tell you, like, you'll never forget your grandma with that.
Right. For you know, my first time watching a wrestling match with Danny, even to be in my first wrestling match and stuff like that, and then from there to move on to my brother, be like.
Now, did she live long enough for you to see you become a champion?
She's actually seen me make it to Japan. She was alive when I got to go to WCW.
Proud as a peacock, wasn't she?
Boy, yeah. She actually, matter of fact, when we was in WCW, I had Booker T, Teddy Long, Stevie Ray, Ron Simmons, The Godfather. I had just about everybody. We had a show in Denver, and it was around Christmas time, and so you know, Grandma always does a big Christmas dinner, so I invited all the boys, you know, over to my house.
And she was happy as could be. She
was happy as hell to see all the wrestlers come.
Put the feast out.
And put the food down and eat like wrestlers and eat like men and eat all that shit. That way she'd have all them leftovers.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So she was happy, you know what I mean? So they had a great time. We all had a good time. You know, met my cousins, my family, my kids. My kids used to travel with me all the time.
Oh, I remember,
back in the day and stuff. So yeah.
Well, my dad, the night that Ricky Steamboat and I won the world tag titles on the Clash of Champions live TV. No cell phones back then, right? So, or just starting to come in, but I didn't have one. So I run back from the ring, call my dad after the match, and he's crying because his son's become a champion, right? Now we have to go do this segment with Barry whacking us and getting the sauce, right? So I said, "Dad, I'll call you right back in a few minutes." I go running back over to do the spot. I call back my stepmother, and she goes, "Your dad just threw an ashtray through the television."
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So, kill this.
Oh, he would. So he, I'll tell you some more stories when we're done recording. But so I put him on the phone. My dad was 48 when I was born.
Right.
So he's in his 60s at this point. And starting to have some health issues. So I put him on the phone and I said, "Dad, listen to me. It's all pretend. It's fake. The blood's fake." I mean, I went over the top, like going way beyond, right? For like 45 minutes. I said, "Dad, don't get worked up over this stuff, Dad. We're all friends, blah, blah, blah." And he listens the whole time. Very. And I said, "You understand what I'm saying, Dad?" He goes, "I just have one question, son." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Why do they put these small guys in with the big guys? That ain't fair."
No, he didn't.
He doesn't want another ain't a Santa Claus, right?
There's no weight balance in there, no nothing.
Zero. But, so now, what year are we talking about? Like when you start training with your neighbor, and then
I graduated around 84. I started training right at the tail end or the middle of 84, 85. Like we started doing training and stuff like that. Probably like end of 85 is when got with a company, Mile High Pro Wrestling, out there in Denver.
Yeah.
It was one of the little local indie wrestling.
How did you make that contact? I mean, because again,
The guy that I said that was a wrestler, I couldn't believe it was a wrestler.
Yeah.
I went down and watched him. There was two other guys that was sort of kind of trying to run a wrestling school or something like that and put on the local shows. Another guy had came in town. Guy's name was Tom Shade or whatever. So he had came in and took over the Mile High. Had a little money, more or less tobacco and stuff, and he started doing bars and armories and stuff like that. So he would run these shows, and he kind of bought out the company, kind of took over, and we just kind of went with him and stuff. And Mile High Pro Wrestling, and kind of took off and went from there. So when I got with him and we started training, and we finally got we started doing shows at did a little local show at Denver and stuff. So bring my cousin, him come down there, watching everything and stuff. And first time, debuting, bar, got some homemade tights and shit. I ain't got no wrestling boots. I got the old amateur wrestling boots on. I colored them with magic marker and shit, made them blue and red, doctored them all up, got them looking good and shit, you know what I'm saying, and shit. So, I go out there and, I'm doing my match stuff, and my cousin's over there, and he's never seen pro wrestling and stuff. We watched it on TV, but we ain't never been to it live. He ain't never seen his cousin wrestle. So my cousin Joe.
Yeah.
My cousin Joe goes to show. My cousin Joe was, he was kind of them, not necessarily want to be a gangster, but he already was packing back then and stuff, before he already had his little gun and stuff like that. So I remember going to the show and stuff and having a wrestle match, and the guy starting to put the beat down on me and stuff. And all of a sudden, my cousin jumps up and shit, and he starts walking down there. He's like, "Hey, man, you better get the FF off my cousin and shit." He started reaching in, pulling on his gun and shit. I'm like, now I'm like, I gotta come out of character. Now I gotta come out there like, no, it's a work, you know what I mean? So he was like, man, I thought he was going to get I'm already coming out and capping his ass and shit. I was like, no, it's good and shit, man. We just rapping that shit. So yeah, that was my cousin's first time watching me wrestle, his experience and shit. Boy, and after that, man, I had to smart him out, because if not, man, he was ready. Somebody would have got shot or something, you know what I mean? So it's not a good way to start out in the business. I ain't got an idea on what the business is supposed to be like, but I know it ain't supposed to be like that. So.
Now, how long first of all, how long were you with Mile High?
I was probably with Mile High for probably, I'm gonna say a good year or so, and about halfway through that year, he started bringing in names. He would start bringing in Playboy Buddy Rose, and he would use Jerry Blackwell, every now and then. A couple of his shows brought in Big Van Vader. So what happened was he had brought in Vader right at the time when Vader was making it big on AWA. And had just started going over to Europe working with Otto Vons, and he had just went to New Japan at that time.
It was huge there.
Right. So at that time, that was still with Stan Hansen, Terry Gordon, all those guys were still on top, and big guys or whatever wasn't bumping for no little guys at all. You know what I mean? Just put the beat down. So he happened to be the main event on one of the Mile High cards. They had told him, realized he was in Vader, got him come down and be on the show. And he came down and seen me. I was probably in the ring working with Airborne, she raised out of Louisiana, I believe it was. So me and Airborne out there, he hell of a hand. This guy, he been in WCW, been around a few other places, and so he knew way more about the wrestling than I did. But he was able to get in there and put together. We had a great match. I was real good. Drop kicks and all that stuff. But they used to bring in Jimmy Jumping, Jim Burrell, I'm sorry. Fucking
Jumping Jim Burrell.
Right, but anyway, so and Gagne and all those guys. So I had seen them guys in AWA growing up. So it was like, man, now I'm on the card, and these guys coming in and stuff like that, right? So Vader just happened to be there and seen our match and spot him, and he was like, man, he'll be good for that junior tournament over in Japan. talked
Yeah,
to him
Leon's
after the show.
wheels were always turning like
Man,
that.
his wheels was turning, and next thing you know, man, we started talking that night. After that, man, he took my number, we became friends. He brought me up to the house, showed me some tapes, slapped me around, said, "What you gonna do if they do this in Japan?"
Yeah.
And whacked me upside my foot.
Oh.
Head. I was like, "What the fuck?" I thought he was my friend and shit. We in the backyard and shit. I'm like, "What you doing?" Shit, we should slap the back, you know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"What the fuck?" He's like, "That's what you do in Japan. That's Japan style." I'm like,
Wow.
you know, he's like, yeah, so we sat back, had some beers, he was like, watch these tapes, you know, and this and that. And I was like, wow, that's physical.
Yeah. Well, and that was invaluable because the first time I went in '88, I knew wrestling. I didn't know Japanese wrestling, right? So I'm trying to do the American style. And, you know, the guys are coming back stiffer and stiffer. It took about 2 or 3 nights before I started figuring out what was going on. But it was, I wish I'd had that, at least that little bit of a look-see, right?
Right. So he was able to smart me up before I ever went. He was like, man, yeah, I'm going to try to get over in Japan. Would you be willing to go to the dojo? I was like, yeah, I would love to. He had a guy come in and take me. Unfortunately, it was one of them nights that Playboy Buddy Rose was in town. We were supposed to work. He didn't know nobody in town. Hey, Scorp, you know where to get this? So I called the family. Family said yes. Next thing you know, he's hooked up. Well, shit, he got everything he got, but he don't know how to make the shit that he want to make. Guess what? I got to go help him. I help him make the shit that he want to make. We sit down, puff, pass. Next thing I know, I'm hiding 3 sheets to the wind. I got to wrestle and shit, knowing that Vader's coming down to take me. I was about this big shit about to jump out of my head and shit, heart beating about 100 miles an hour and shit, right? And I'm like, playing my brother like shit, like that's what I do regularly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little lost and shit. But I had a great fucking match, you know, and everything and shit. And
you work with Buddy?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I worked with everybody, was bad. He was like, I'm not working with anybody. And then he worked with me, and after that, he's like, yeah, I want to work with him, kid, since he know how to work. So that's how I was able to work with all the top guys that, you know, when Todd, he would ever bring in a name, I would always, me or Don Juan, you know, was probably one of the better hands. And we always would get a chance to work with some of the top guys, you know, that come in. So got that on-hand experience and training.
Networking, long before we knew what networking was.
Had no clue what I was doing at the time and shit. You know, and then they passed the word on, yeah, you work with this guy, yeah, he's a good hand, he's a good worker, he listens, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, them passing words on, you know, it helped a lot. Then I ended up doing about a 3-month program with the Colonel the Beers.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was he to work with?
Ed Alsowski. Very easy. I was very surprised because I've always seen him and Superfly Snooker work that gimmick.
Yeah.
I'm like, this old racist motherfucker and shit, man. He gotta beat my fucking ass. Cause, you know, I was small. He was like 6 foot something. I'm like, damn, he was a big boy and shit. Man, I need to went to the same thing that me and Superfly did. I'm like, well, what? I said, can you fly? I was like, yeah, I do all that Superfly shit. You know, Superfly was like, I can do all that, you know. So I got to work the program with him when he walked me through it, man. I probably, man, some of the best matches I ever had.
Wow.
And with the experience of breaking into the business.
Sure, yeah. For you guys sitting at home, understand, like once you've gone through like your training stuff, we all know how to do a suplex or a backdrop or whatever the moves are. We have no clue when to do them, when not to do them. So when you're in the ring with a guy like De Beers or Buddy Rose or any of the guys that you mentioned or that I've broken in with, every night they're doing this with us, just taking us out there.
Right.
And we were playing Simon Says, right?
Scorpio. Simon says move.
Yeah, right. I mean, simple.
Simon says move.
Yeah. I remember thinking to myself, because I was always in the ring with those great heels, and I'm thinking, I'm getting paid for this? Like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just doing what they're telling me to do, and I'm getting paid for this. This is crazy. But, so now, when your Japanese stuff was when I first became aware of you.
Right.
We were getting tapes and stuff. I was training by then, but I was training through college, 82 to 86, and then after that, the only reason I went into wrestling, never had planned on it. Not that I wouldn't have loved it, but I didn't think it was possible for a guy my size to be in that business with those monsters. And my school loans were coming due. I had $77,000 in school loans, which was like $77 million to me back then.
Back then, right.
Right. You know, I didn't have a pot to piss in. And Eddie Gilbert called me. You had, I think, a 3 or 6 month grace period. You have to start paying those loans back. Month by month is ticking by, and the economy's the shits, and I don't see any job prospects. And Eddie called. He had been up. Bill Watts had sent 7 or 8 of his guys up to Dominic, and we did like a week or 10-day tour. and Eddie had seen Mick Foley and I wrestle, because Dominic always puts on the curtain jerk. And Eddie called me and said, hey, I'd like to bring you and Mick Foley in. Would that be something you're interested in? I said, I've never thought about being a wrestler, to be honest with you. And he said, well, you and Mick are pretty good. And, blah. And again, at that point, you're
right.
You don't think you're good.
Like, I don't know, wrestling, really?
Right. So I thought, well, okay, I'll do it in 3, 6, 8 months, and then when the economy picks up, I'll go back and get a job in my field, right? And then you get into it, and then you're in the Pez Watley and Dick Slater, Black Bart, all those guys that I've mentioned constantly, every night, just teaching me, right? It's so for you guys sitting at home, realize like what Scorp's talking about, what I'm talking about, is these are the guys that took us from knowing how to just do the moves to knowing how to when to do them, when not to do them, when to take the bump, when not to take the bump.
Why the psychology of why we doing certain things and why we did things,
right.
Know, back in the day. You like now you're very seldom see somebody even lock up,
right,
grab a headlock,
right,
or work a hold.
Yeah.
Because that's the way we learned. You had to know every hold in the book.
Right.
You call yourself a wrestler. If you wasn't doing, when I started in the business, I was doing indies, and then I started going to Japan. It was like, yeah, I'm a professional wrestler. They said, how long you been working? I was like, about a year, 2 years. They said, you ain't a professional wrestler. I said, what? They said, you ain't a professional wrestler. I said, until you start doing 120 days a year or more, you really can't call yourself a professional wrestler.
Right.
Back in the day. Now, you train for 6 months, you pay the money.
Right.
I'm a professional wrestler because I bought boots, gear, and kick pads.
Right.
So I'm a wrestler.
I'm sure you've seen this already, but I always point out to the fans. Tomorrow night, watch Raw. Wednesday, watch AEW. Watch whatever of the shows you want, Impact, NWA. And watch how many times the babyface throws the first or kick. And then the heel fires back, right? And I always tell the kids I'm doing a seminar. So if I'm the heel and you punch me first, and I punch you back, what makes me the bad guy? I'm responding to you.
You did right.
You broke the rules first. And
that's that psychology, again, that we talk about that they've gotten away from. Went up to the psychology and the know-how. Like, again, we knew how and when. The babyface is never going to throw the first punch.
No.
Especially a closed fist punch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And not even not even punch for punch, right? The babyface would take 2, 3,
2,
and then blow, right?
But back in the day, how long did it take you before you was able to get that one punch in?
Yeah.
It might be 5, 10, 6, 7 minutes in a match. Now you get punched 20 times in the first 4 or 5 minutes. Clothesline, drop kick, arm drag, 3 finishes, and we still got 20 minutes to go.
Right. It's where do you think that our business, and we're jumping ahead, but I want to get into this because we're on this topic. Where do you see that the business went off the rails like that? Because every night I remember I call them the old timers, the legends in front of me, teaching me. Gotta learn to tell a story, kid. I'm thinking, I'm wrestling my ass off. What are you talking about? I was telling a story. It just didn't connect.
Right.
And then one night, boom, it just connected. I couldn't believe how simple it was once you got it.
Made it easier.
Yes.
To actually work. Sure. Once I figured out exactly what was the storyline and why you tell it. Why would I, like you say, punch you first or drop kick you first as a babyface?
Right.
And you haven't done nothing to break the rules yet.
Exactly.
That.
Yeah, I'm astounded. I'm sure you are as well. The kids' athleticism. I mean, they
phenomenal.
They defy gravity. I mean, I don't know how I'm looking for the wires of how they're doing this. But as amazing as it is for like 30. I always call it the fireworks display, right? By the time the grand finale comes, you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Let's get out of here. Once you see the beautiful backflips and the defying gravity and everything for 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, now show me something else. Show me the story, right? And bring me into it. Because as a fan, when I was a young kid watching, what lured me in was the believable characters, and then the storylines. Remember Dusty getting his arm broken by the 4 horsemen?
Last for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah,
and stuff,
I don't get home to watch what he see with
yes,
right?
The build up, to the big show when Ray Stevens in it, chair on his neck, I mean, walking around with a brace on your neck for how many months, angles and shit. There's no more angles in the storyline and stuff, My thing is this, a lot of kids know how to bump,
Right.
don't know how to sell.
Right.
A lot of kids have no face expressions,
Yeah.
but know all the holes in the book.
Right.
I can flip and do all the high spots, but what's the overhand wrist lock?
Right. Yes.
That makes no sense to me, anymore.
Right.
And I guess that's what I think. Getting away from what we grew up on, that storyline. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Right.
They've started to me, it's like, let's join the circus. Because all I'm saying is flip, 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 flip. I can go to Circus Soleil if that's what I want to see and shit.
Right. Sure.
You know, there's no storyline, there's no nothing. It's just, you're just doing moves.
Right.
Seems like everybody's trying, if you do this move, I gotta do this move. If
Right.
you do this move, I gotta do this move. Everybody's like move for move trying to outdo everybody
Yeah.
because I gotta get my shit in
Right.
instead of trying to tell a storyline and
Sure.
make an angle or something out of it and get it over.
My example I give to that is I love when the Summer Olympics come around, right? And you watch the men and women's gymnasts. Like, you just watch it and go, my God, it's incredible. For gymnastics, right?
Right.
But in the wrestling, there's a story being told. It's supposed to be a fight between us, and two gladiators going at it. Not you're athletic, and I'm less athletic. He's more athletic. That's an ingredient. That's a part of it. But the rest of it. But again, I think like what we're, at least in my perusal, is we were all the guys you mentioned just a few minutes ago throughout that early part of our careers. Every night we were in the ring with somebody that had decades or at least 10 years more experience than us.
We did easily.
And were teaching us night by night by night. These kids are all in the ring with each other. So you and I broke in around the same time. If we'd have gone on the road together and wrestled each other every night, I couldn't teach you anything. You couldn't teach me anything. So we're only going to get to a certain level, right? Before it's being in the ring with those Pez Watleys and those Buddy Roses to take you up to here.
Yeah, next level and
Yes.
stuff. You know, that's why, you know, a lot of young kids I wrestle nowadays, it's not, I ain't gonna never come down to your level to wrestle.
Right.
Learn that in the business. You never go down to anybody's level if he's less qualified. You always bring that person up to your level. You know, our staff on where we've been and what we've done in our career, when we step in the ring, if they're willing to listen, we can show you how easier it is to get your shit done without having to get all my shit in.
Right.
And where it don't mean that. Cause a lot of guys, I mean, phenomenal workers, can do all the flips and all that bullshit, and they done did all that through the whole match, and they end up with a small package. Why?
Right.
You know, my thing is why are you guys doing people's finish? I got a problem with everybody doing everybody's finishes and kicking out of them.
Agreed.
That people don't be okay. So you hit a person with a finish and they kick out and they get up before you. What does that do to everybody else who might have done that move or had that as a finish?
And why, when you do it, did the guy get beat? And that the kid did it earlier, he kicked out of one or two.
But he was only 110 pounds.
Right. See, I always tell the kids when I'm doing seminars, and fans when I'm talking to them, there was never a single time in my career, once I got over and was getting up the ladder, that I ever had to walk in the dressing room and say, hey guys, the belly-to-belly suplex is my finish, please don't use it. Or Jake, I'm sure, never had to say DDT. It was just a mutual respect, right? We knew each other's moves.
That goes because we sat and had to watch. When we first broke in, everybody used to watch everybody's match because I was always taught, you gotta watch his match, you gotta watch his match, you gotta watch his match. But that guy's 450 pounds, you gotta watch his match. What happens if you work with him?
Yeah.
Are you gonna know what he does and how he works with him? So I was always taught you need to watch everybody's match.
Absolutely.
Now you see a lot of guys sitting in the locker room talking about they so worried about my match and what I'm doing that they're calling the same shit that just happened in the ring. Now you done seen 20 million drop kicks, clothesline, and the same flips, and then you go right to the second match, do the same thing, third match, do the same thing. It's like, there's no difference anymore because everybody's worried about getting their shit in.
Well, Bill, if you'd done that,
What's that?
you would get your paycheck. You know, like last night we were in Ashland, right? So let's say you and I went out there and either didn't pop the crowd or get reaction, or I worked your leg in the match before, two before us worked the leg. I'd get my check and it would say Ashland 0 or minus 1,500 or whatever. And if you had the stones to go ask the cowboy, hey, what's this for? He would say, well, I paid you to entertain the crowd, or I paid you to work a match. And as I recall, what was it you worked on? Oh, that's right, you worked Scorp's leg. Remind me, what did the match right before yours do? You know,
right.
And you knew, right? And then he would hammer it. It didn't take more than once. You get that fine.
One fine is all it takes, doing the same shit. I got fined because I didn't do exactly. I said, give him one punch. You gave him 2 punches.
Right.
When I'm trying to get you over this or what the fuck, I'm telling you.
Right.
That's exactly what he told me and
Yeah.
shit, man. And I said, oh shit. He goes, well, I said, I know how to make money. I know how to make money.
Right.
Hey, Bill Watts, we ain't never had that discussion again. One time and one time only. You know what I mean? So yeah.
It's so now from Japan. How many? You were still going to Japan like when you were in ECW, as I recall.
Yes.
It was back and forth. So how many years in total? Like when was your first trip to Japan?
My first trip to Japan was the end of '85, beginning of '86.
Okay.
I went over there, did a tour, then I came home, and then I went back and lived there and trained in the dojo.
That had to be tough.
There. Yes.
Because I went on my first tour in '88 was a 3-week tour. And yeah, that's a cakewalk for us, right? First 2 weeks, great, loving the culture, the food, and boy, that 3rd week seemed like a prison sentence.
It was like it's getting longer.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I really took to the culture and the style and stuff like that. So to me, it was more of a challenge. It was like, told the wife, got the call, hey, would you go over to Japan and train? They're gonna pay you X amount of money to train in Japan. They're gonna
Not a
pay
bad
me
deal.
to
Right.
train in Japan instead of me having to pay them to train at somebody else's school and not learn what I might need.
Like
so
a dojo,
that first tour that I went on, I had no clue what I was in store for, but evidently it must have worked out enough that they believed in me. They brought me back and put me in the dojo.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? That was an experience in itself. You know, so.
That was just not an open invitation to anybody that wanted to come. I remember that. And what always amazed me about the Japanese wrestlers, even till today, is the respect they still have for their business, the respect they have for the elders in the dressing room. Right? I remember the first day, Kenta Kobashi, who later became a huge star, he was down scrubbing Bubba's feet when Bubba paid me.
Yes.
Right? And I remember thinking, like, Donna's got those ugly Italian feet. If he'd made me do that, obviously I would have done it. But, I'm thinking, like, wow, this is like a whole different world, right?
Young boys.
Yes.
Take them under your wing, train them, mold them, teach them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which we don't get that. I've taken a few boys under my wing, they grab my bag, do this, do that. But I'm training you and grooming you.
Yes.
Japanese style, which is way different than what we get in America. In America, it seems like they don't you get a lot of guys who still have the love for the business, but it seems like over there, they just really, just take it more seriously, their opportunity or their chance.
Well, what I didn't realize or understand at that time was, everybody that ever was down scrubbing Bubba's feet or Inoki's feet or whoever, in 2 or 3 or 4 years was a massive star. And they had earned their way there, right? From scrubbing the feet to up to the ladder.
To having their own young boy scrub their feet, do the same shit that they've done.
Right. From my ignorant American point of view, it seemed like, what is this condescending? This is sort of like being rude to the guy, right? Like being condescending. And then you realize
like being a slave and shit, right?
Right. But it really is the ultimate sign of respect, right? This guy is my trainer. I'm going to scrub his feet. And but again, the Japanese have always impressed me, even till today, like I said, at how crisp they are at their wrestling. Everything is bam, bam, bam. There's no sort of muddle up here and go do something. I was telling the kid last night in our match, give it to them in chunks that they can chew it and digest it. Give them the chance to come in and boo, cheer, hooray, you suck. But if you're just going zip, 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 you never give them that chance. And this crazy world Twilight Zone we're living in right now, people have crappy bosses at work, they have tough marriage, they have a neighbor that's a jerk. People want to come there and release, right?
Yes,
in this
definitely.
world. So let them do that.
What is your reason? I'm going to go to this match, I'm not going to think about it now, I'm going to watch somebody else get entertained, you know what I mean, enjoy myself. Fuck it, now I'm going to go back home to the real world and shit, deal with the real problems.
Let them. And you come like from me, like from blue collar family background. Today, especially, gas almost $5 a gallon, 6, 7 in some places. Food tripling in prices. When a family, yesterday we saw how many families coming through there. For a family to come there and buy, 8, 10, 12, 15 autographs and pictures, and I'm sure they stop to get something to eat. That's a $300, $400, $500 day. And
Right, for 3 or 4 people to go out and
Yeah.
and try to have a good time, and then my thing is those are like why I take time to say hey, thank you for coming out,
Yeah,
thank
sure.
you for because in this time and age, like you say, as high as gas, food, and everything is still yet you come out and support your favorite wrestlers and go to these conventions. Is why we still do what we do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because of these really dedicated fans that
absolutely.
make us.
Yeah. In all these towns that don't get hit anymore, right? Because the
Oh,
big feds stayed in the
Right.
largest
Oh
cities.
yeah.
And
Too
these
small. We don't do nothing there,
Yeah.
but they love wrestling there too, though.
Right.
But,
And their
you
money's
used to
as
go
green as
there.
everybody's, right? And
Their
these-
money is still green.
Yeah, and these are the places we ran the roads to.
Yes.
We've wrestled for these people. Yeah, it really. Ron Simmons said it best yesterday. He turned around the car and said, because he and I were in the UWF together, he said, can you believe how blessed we are? These people want to still come out and pay to get our picture and our autograph. He said, you imagine telling our parents that, like, as hard as they worked, saying, wait, somebody's paying you for an autograph or a picture?
Right. Our parents be like, what?
Yeah, so again, to you fans out there, from the
Thank
bottom of
you.
my heart, thank you guys.
Fans who make you, the fans who break you. Hey, it's fans who made me anyways. Thank you.
All of us.
Yeah,
And ECW, right? So let's get into
definitely
ECW.
ECW.
So when you come to ECW, like I said, I was aware of your Japanese stuff, but now I'm watching. I love wrestling, so I'm watching. What always amazed me, I joke you about it, but I'm serious. When I jump off that rope, gravity grabs my ass, right? It's like an electromagnet.
Okay.
Yeah, how in God's name, or you don't even think about it, do you hang in the air? Like he'll do a moonsault. Most moonsaults are boom, right? His is.
I just don't know how I have that gravity of hang time, blessed by the man up above that. To have a certain amount of hang time, even growing up, I used to be able to, jump and flip over 6, 7 people and shit, and blue jeans and tennis shoes. I try to do that shit now, somebody gonna get hurt. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, being able to float up and, slap the ball, I was like, oh man, I landed softly,
Right.
The biggest thing is if being a high flyer, for me, I guess if I was able to do all these moves and not necessarily land lightly on a person, that person's gonna get hurt at 240, 250. So, even with a float, it's still gonna hurt, but it's not gonna hurt as much.
No.
So, hey, I think it's just, by the grace of God that I have, some of the talent that I have, as far as being able to float like that.
One of the things for a wrestler, for you guys at home, it's disconcerting, especially the first or second time you work with somebody, is you're laying there on the mat and you see this big muscle bastard getting on, jumping up in the air, and you just got to lay there and wait for them to land or put you through the table or whatever. What always amazed me about ECW, we certainly had injuries, but we never had. Last year, somebody sent me something from a sheet from AEW. I think they had like 14 or 16 people out with very serious injuries. A few broken necks, blown ACLs, Achilles tendons, teeth kicked out, and I thought, how? I mean, with all the nuts stuff, we were
tables and chairs. Right. I mean, in spite of don't get us wrong. Like you say, there was a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But nowhere near. We had 1 or 2 that was accident prone.
Sure.
That would always get hurt. Stevie Richard.
Yeah.
Perfectly that would break his neck, break his arm, break his leg. He was gonna get hurt no matter what the fuck he did, whatever he went out there. But for the majority, considering all the chair shots, all the table shots, the barbed wire and stuff that we did, we didn't have that many. We had a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
But not that many injuries. Maybe a few concussions that, hey, if you got a concussion, I don't know what it is, I don't know, but let's go have a beer anyway.
Right, yeah.
So, a few of them probably, but for the majority, we didn't have a major, like neck breaking, anybody really break an arm, or, we had the angle where,
Hakeem.
And then blew out, New Jack. Now that was a straight shoot, you know what I'm saying? You brought him up for the nuts and shit, falling from that guy down to a scaffold and shit, you know what I mean? I mean, shit gonna happen and shit, you know what I mean? But for the majority, we was safe, but wow.
Right. Well, the injuries that you're talking about, when they did happen, they happened in spite of, because it's an imperfect science, right? I can try to land you safely if you're too oiled up, or I'm blown up, or my foot slips, or whatever. that's when the injuries would happen, was when something went off rail like that, but not with such a regularity. And I don't know if it's, I don't want to speak like I'm an authority on it because I don't know how the kids today are trained. We were trained at Dominic's school and then on the road. Rule number one, take care of the guy you're working with.
Take care of your opponent.
Right. Rule number two, you take care of yourself. Your rule one is taking care of me and vice versa. So the top three rules for both of us are we're taking care of each other ourselves. And I just don't see that now because of all these injuries that we're seeing. And if it's just a freak thing that's happening or whatever, I eat my words, but you were a high flyer. And what, 235, 240 in that range?
About 250 my best, so like 250, 260,
Okay.
when I was, WWE, stuff like that, still doing all
And
that shit.
can honestly say that not one time did you ever tater me or land heavy or hard on me and hurt me in anything. And God, how many battles we have 30, 40, 50 minutes, it's and in that building, as hot as it was, because God,
That was back then, we had no AC, no AC.
Yeah. And the smell of urine that was pouring out from the
Urine,
urinals,
sweat,
cockroaches. But there was magic in that building, wasn't
but
there?
there was magic.
I'm telling you,
There was
it
magic.
crazy. Let's sort of get forward to the night, because I've always given you the props on the third match of the NWA title tournament. I was blown sky high. It was 114 degrees in Philadelphia, or in the building that night.
Everything it was.
Hot, humid August night in Philly with all that water around it. Oh, it was just like breathing through a sponge. And I had wrestled Taz and Dean Malenko in the first two rounds, and then Paul wanted you and I to go out and put on a clinic, and I was blown. I mean, I was whooped.
Right.
And we went out there, and my recollection is there was very little talking before that match because we were both busy.
I think you just got something, I was going on, we was doing all that other
Yeah.
shit. I don't think we really had time to talk. We knew what you did, you kind of knew what
Right,
I did.
sure.
I think we just got that basically called it in the ring
Yeah.
and just worked it out.
Yeah, and my worry at that point was, again, we just talked a second ago about the safety factor. As blown as I was, we were both dripping sweat, and the ring was all wet and slimy. Was being that blown, I didn't want to go to body slam you or vertical you or something and not really have a hold or whatever. But dude, you were the reason that match worked because I was so blown. I was just sort of following your pacing, and but then I had the promo to do afterwards, and so I was in the back of my mind trying to
Think of the shit I got to do and shit as well and shit.
Yeah, and wasn't sure if even during the match I wasn't 100% certain I was going to do it because
Right.
Paul had given it to me. If you don't do it, we'll stay in the NWA. If you do it, he never told me I want you to do this or that.
Either or, right.
He just gave me both. I think he probably knew that in the long run I probably was going to go that way, but since I didn't know, I was trying to. The only thing I wanted to remember for the promo was the names, the guys that I looked up to in the NWA, to make sure that I was giving them some kind of respect, but I
Right.
was shitting on them. Problem was, when I got to that point to do the promo, I said,
just shit on your back.
and I went blank. I mean, like my brain was just like empty, and then that's when the fans started throwing names in, and
Right.
and that just made it so real. It was a conversation, not a promo. But what were your recollections, A, of the tournament that night, of our match, and then of the angle afterwards? Were you?
I thought that considering the night that we had, I thought we had a hell of a match. Considering, I thought we had a good match, and I had no idea.
Okay.
I knew that you was gonna do the promo, but I didn't have no idea about the promo and the angle and the belt being thrown in the trash and all that.
Right.
So when you threw the belt in the trash and shit, you was like, fuck that bullshit, and I reached in and grabbed me like, I'll take it. That was just working. Was just working off the cuff, like, well, fuck it, if he don't want it, I'll take it. How many chips you need and shit? And I was like, fuck. Yeah, I had no idea about the whole angle, but the way that the chemistry of how it came off and played off with me not really knowing the back half of the angle and where we was really going.
Sure.
I had a win, but it was like, Paul Lee, he was kind of old school.
Yeah.
Because he heard about WWF and, okay, motherfuckers tell about the storyline that's gonna happen. They send a scoop sheet before you even motherfucking do it, and then they still do the motherfucking angle. Right? I got to smarten you up to it,
Right.
So Paul Lee wasn't about, smarting anybody up to anything. It was just, having so you knew, a few people knew, but I don't think that everybody had knew what you was planning or what you, I don't, like you said, I don't even think you knew what you was planning, what you was gonna do. So at that point, after the match and shit, and you know, you went over and took the belt to the truck, I was just all ad lib.
Right.
Had no idea. That was just working, right.
Well, the reason I say that match, I agree with you that I thought it was a pretty darn good match. First of all, we always had good chemistry.
Right.
We'd always go out and have those matches. Again, but being blown as much as I was at that point. But for the NWA tournament, the NWA to me were the wrestling guys, right? The WWF was the entertainment guys. And so we had to give...
ego and shit, basically.
Right. And we couldn't go out there and do a punch kick, let's fight all over the building for the NWA tournament. We had to give them something in that vein that was Briscoe-ish or funkish.
Right.
In that vein. And that was, again, me following your lead because I was really, by that time, my brain was empty as far as my ideas I'd used in the earlier matches.
Right.
So again, just reacting off of your stuff. As far as the angle goes, the only three people that I knew were aware were Todd, Paul, and me.
Well, I don't think anybody else really knew.
And I was sworn to secrecy, and to be honest, nobody could have known because I didn't know. I had met Dennis Corleone one time before that, but it wasn't like, hey, how are you? I'm Shane Douglas. Eddie Gilbert had gone to get a pay. And I was with Eddie, and Eddie said, this is Shane Douglas, and we just shook hands, but they talked. It wasn't even like a real introduction, you know. I had no idea. All I knew of him at that point was, if you recall, in those early years, he would come over and flyer our shows or call the fire department and say they're over capacity, stuff like that.
And they would come in and be like, okay.
Yes.
And then walk out.
Yeah. So it was a few weeks before.
Yeah, we pay him off, keep going, you know. So.
A few weeks before, Paul came to me and said, I have an idea. He ran it by me, and he said, if you don't want to do it, we'll remain part of the NWA if you do. And for whatever time he told me forward, and he said the only other person who was Todd, and he swore me to secrecy. Do not speak to any, because Paul was always worried about stuff getting into the sheets.
Yep.
So I was every day back and forth, like all day long. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Thursday of that week, Mike Tenay called me, and that's when he had the national syndicated radio show.
Yes.
And he said, "Did you hear my show last night?" I said, "I didn't." He said, "Go back and listen to the archive." I said, "Why?" I said, "Well, Dennis Corleone, I think you need to hear what he had to say." Again, I didn't know Dennis other than shaking hands with him one time. So I went back and pulled it up, and he said, for anybody out there thinking of booking Shane Douglas, I wouldn't, because he'll take your money and no-show you. Well, this is when we were still making about 75% of our money on the indies.
Right.
And I thought, this guy wants me to be his champion, and he's telling people I'll steal their money? I'd never stolen any, taken any. I've always sent money back when I make a shot. And I thought, why would he say that? And I thought, if nothing else, it's a dumb move, because if it's in the best scenario, it's he's stooging to the world that I'm going to be the champion. I'm more of in the end, right? The worst case, he's trying to take food off my table.
That was got me. You trying to take food off my mouth now we got a problem.
Right. And then we get to the building that day, and again, I'm back and forth going to do it. As soon as I walked in at like 1 o'clock, he comes running up and he shoves a contract in my face. And I took it. I said, okay, well, I'll get to my attorney and get it back to you as soon as I can. He then hounded me for the rest of the day. In my head, I probably remembered it more than it really was, but 6, 7, 8 times that day. The last time, and I kept warning Paul, like, get him away, because I'm going to end up blowing.
Right.
If you remember, I used to have a temper.
Yeah. I ain't trying to be about all that bullshit, you know what I'm saying?
I had gone into the bathroom to do my number 2 business, and I come out, I open the stall, and he's there, shoves in my face again. I'm like, oh my, I went to find Paul, I said, get him away from me, this is going to get blown. And he did for the rest of the night. If you watch me doing the promo, I'm dragging the promo out because I can't make my mind up. I can see.
Which way am I gonna go?
Yeah. Well, in hindsight, it worked, and we now know that. But that could have been an anchor that buried us.
Yes.
A lot of people love the NWA. So it's when I lock eyes with Dennis Corleone, who's sitting with Todd and Bob Ortiz down at ringside, and he's just when I looked at him, I made eye contact, and I heard in my head saying, "He'll take your money and no show you," and that's when I hit the line. Threw the belt at him. But it amazes me as that I was calling myself that snot-nosed kid that came up out of New Brighton, Pennsylvania, that didn't know anything about anything with wrestling other than I loved it. Mm-hmm. That here I am doing an angle that 30 years later, like these conventions, man, when you throw that belt down, you tell that story over and over again.
Still one of the best
Amazing
storylines ever that made ECW.
Well, no,
that was
no,
the move. That was the move
well,
to
that
switch though. That pushed us.
But we had, like I always tell people, the thing that I loved about ECW was it wasn't Shane Douglas's promotion or Hulk Hogan's promotion or whoever. It was the group. It was the family. If you put us all together on anything, and you see how the magic's there. We draw as each of us by ourselves, or me with Franny. But when you put us all together, again, some of that magic.
That magic. I mean, Gary, Anthony the Pit Bulls and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, then you have with just the tag teams, and then bringing in the Mexican workers and stuff like that. Man, we just had so much talent come and go throughout ECW. It's like if I look back and start thinking, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, Ron Simmons,
Right.
everybody that came through there.
Yeah.
Stone Cold came through there before he was damn Stone Cold. That's how we became Stone Cold.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Stone Cold and Steve, brilliant move. He took Sandman, Taz, and the franchise and rolled them into one character.
Yes,
and I'm like,
he did.
Yeah, what a brilliant move, dude.
I never even thought about that shit. That's true. I didn't say.
You are the reason that night worked, though, because the whole tournament before was just sort of like window dressing. That final match is what had to knock the ball out of the park to make the belt throw down make any sense or look like such an act of revolution. But for me, getting to be the mouthpiece for the company, like I always tell people this, and if you think about this, go back to like say 93, 4, 5, and if you put all the names of all the ECW stars that would later be the stars of the ECW on paper, and said, okay, give us $1 billion to back this company. Well, we were all mid-carders. I mean, Funk, of course, was the legend.
Right.
But most of us were known in Japan or mid-card guys.
Right, Eddie, right.
Right. On paper, they would have said, are you out of your mind? These are not stars, right? But put us together in that building, and Paul giving us the leeway to just do what you wanted. That's what I loved about ECW was there was no.
I didn't learn how to do a damn promo until I went down to ECW. I learned how to talk, work. Like go work, huh?
Yeah, right.
You can work.
Yeah.
Do what you want, huh? Oh, fun. We're gonna have fun now, shit.
Yeah. Well, the very first night early when I was slated for a 5-minute promo, which is a long promo. Right, and I was not great at it at that point. I could do them, but not 5 minutes. It's a long promo. And I kept asking Paul. Paul used to always do this thing, make me wait, right? And I need to get stuff in my head and run it through. And I kept asking. He kept giving me the finger. So the curtain out, my music's playing, right? And I said, Paul, what do you want me to say? He went, whatever you want. And it threw me for a second. Then I thought, oh, okay, well, I can do this. I just went out and those early ones weren't as good as they would become, right? But I had never seen that before. I was so used to being told to say this, and this.
Yes. Right. And then you walking around the fucking around them, looking at your shit for 3 hours. Like, fuck, I gotta remember this.
Yes.
Fuck, I hated that shit.
Well,
man.
there was a kid yesterday that came after everything was gone. Everything was done. People were pulling their stuff out. We were waiting for Moose. Came over. His name was Charlie. If you're listening, Charlie, appreciate you coming over. He came over. He was not, I think he said he was born in like 97 or 8, so obviously was not old enough to watch it originally. But since with YouTube and all of these, online video outlets, they've kept us eternally young.
Thank you very much.
Those videos, we don't have these wrinkles that we have right now. But it really hasn't, and when you see somebody that was not even alive at that point saying that, and earlier in the day, did you see the kid that had his hair pushed up?
I did.
Yeah, his name was, let me think of it for saying, it'll pop, might begin with an H. Anyway, he came over, his mom said, tell him, I said, who's your favorite wrestler today?
Was it Bishop? It wasn't Bishop, was it?
No, that was another kid.
Yes.
Yeah, that was another kid. But he said, his mom said, I asked him, who's your favorite wrestler today? And his mom said, tell him who you came to see today. And he thought for a second, he looked at the list. She said, go ahead and tell him. You can tell him who your favorite wrestler is. And everybody said, I came to get your autograph. And I started laughing, right? I said, he's 7 years old. Like, how do you even know me, right? And I asked him that. He said, I did my research. And
He said,
yeah,
what?
did my research.
7 years old. Oh no. I
Yes,
did
sir.
my research.
Yeah, good looking young man. But you know, again, like you know, for old farts like us with this internet and everything, I mean, we're good at it. We can get on and do what we have to do on it. But you know, like, realizing that like, if a 7-year-old is even looking for us, I mean, that's my
Why? I mean,
right.
you don't know nothing about me. I was like, you weren't even born when I was in the ring working,
Right.
you know, my hottest and doing what I do the best at ECW. But it's like, but my mom had put me onto the videotapes and I went back and watched all these shit. All
Right.
these ECW, that's a lot of tapes, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There was a lot of shows.
My own kids, I didn't let them. They probably did with their friends or whatever. I had never at home put an ECW tape or disc in or showed them anything because I didn't want them to see their dad talking like that. And
Right.
Yeah, I figure when they get a little bit older, okay, no problem. But you know, at 8, 10 years old, you don't really want to see that stuff. But
Plus the ECW.
right. I mean, it was adult themed, you know, and it was meant to be that. Look, I know we're gonna wrap it up here. We could do this all day and talk because I definitely need to have you back.
Oh,
Because,
for sure.
You know, we have so much more to talk about it, and we just scratched the surface of ECW. But I went over to know that this guy. You know, people come to me and say, "Hey, you were ECW." Bullshit. It was a family, but it was guys like Charlie here, that Scorp, that was the that part of that magic ingredient. To that.
Well, you know, the thing about it is you know how we went to WCW and WWF.
Right.
All those places that we've ever been, there's always seemed to be, are you part of this clique? Are you part of Sean's clique? Are you part of Taker's clique? Are you know, if you're part of one of these cliques, you're probably gonna get a push.
Right.
Or we're not gonna work with you. If you ain't in one of them cliques, you're about to fly up underneath the radar.
Yeah.
Where in ECW, it was like there was still, you know, Todd, and me, and Sandman, the posse.
Right.
And then there was, you know, New Jack and Mustafa, and then it was you, Taz, and Dreamer, and but we was all family.
Yeah.
That was the thing. It was
If
like
somebody
you and
attacked
Taz,
you
like
out
you
there.
guys, like the New York guys and stuff is over here,
Right.
and you know the South guys and Atlanta guys are over here. But we're one big family over in that locker room.
Yep.
You know, Gary, you know, the hookup for everybody around
Right.
town and shit.
Yeah.
Where y'all want to go? Where we go? You
Right.
know, we're going to Delilah's. And oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there was always that family involved. And afterwards, like, where you going? I'm going here. We're all gonna go eat. And then everybody dispersed. I'll see you back at what time? 1 o'clock when interviews start. 3. What time is your interview? 4. All right, fuck, I'll be fucked up by then. You know what I'm saying? So you know, but yeah.
It was the only place I'd ever seen all of these types of instances. You'd go to the ring, bust your ass, come back, and everybody sitting there at the table watching the monitor would give you a standing ovation or, hey, great match, you know. And it wasn't being gratuitous, they were serious. And then you'd return the same thing, watch it. It was also the only place I ever saw wrestlers doing what I'd heard Dominic and Bruno talking about. They would say, like, Dominic would say, I'd go out there and, you know, have a good match, and I'd tell Bruno, top it. And Bruno would go out and top it, right? And we did that. We had that sort of friendly rivalry.
Here's your roadmap. Follow that.
Yeah. And it wasn't like, hope you screw up. It was like, go out and top it.
It was, this is how the show was going. You know, everybody's progressing up to the main event.
Right.
You know, and usually when they got to the main event, it was the main event because it wasn't every single match was fought offside.
Right.
Every single match didn't have tables.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, that's what, you know, like now it seems like every match are pretty much the same anymore. So, you know, if I see whatever I see in the first match, I'm probably going to see the whole night. And then by the time we get to the third, fourth, fifth match, I'm really much burnt out because I've seen the same shit over and over again.
Right. It's reading chapter 1 over and over again.
Yes.
It's, I mean, again, ECW, you know, it was definitely the conglomerate, right? The entire family. Every piece was an important cog in the wheel. For me, as the mouthpiece, it was so easy to go out and put that company over because I so believed in the product, and I so believed in that dressing room. I tell people today, we've all been in some incredible dressing rooms.
Oh, right? Yes, we have, man.
Real legends. If you said to me, you have one dressing room for whatever period you were in to start a new company, all of us being young again, you know, at that stage, every time I would pick that ECW.
I would probably go ECW. I mean, it was ECW Japan that turned out to be my favorite all-time locker room.
Right.
road experience travel. You know, ECW as far as the real locker room atmosphere. Japan, you're more or less on a bus traveling from city to city, town to town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I had to do either one, those would probably be the only two.
Yeah.
I really, you know, the WWF experience, it wasn't really bad. WCW wasn't really bad, but it was not that family experience that we got from ECW.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So.
It was a lot of fun, and appreciate the fans being. First of all, appreciate you being here, brother.
Oh man, thanks for having me, man. First time and shit, man. I don't know too many, man, but out of yours and shit.
I appreciate
maybe you and Bus, but other than that, yeah, I ain't doing no damn podcast.
Yeah. Hey, once again, for everybody out there, appreciate you tuning in. All you mothers have a fantastic Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, mothers.
Yeah, love you all. And I'm curious though, like people have been calling me a mother for years. So does that mean I get roses today? Did you bring me flowers?
You mother, you know I did. Nothing.
Love you, Scorpio. Hey, appreciate you guys. See you next time right back here.
All right. Peace out.